Hey, and welcome to another episode of Legion Elite Motorsports. I'm your host, Isaiah, and today we are going to dive in on some more goodies and test out some new injectors. So let's get to it. Okay, welcome back. I have the intake just laying up here. Actually got the gasket, and it turns out to be 100% paper. So I pretty much waited 30 plus days for no reason. So what I did was I took the original gasket and cut off the excess. And I like this one better. It's actually metal. And I think this will withstand a lot more than the paper one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to match port the gasket at a later time. I want to actually complete this intake manifold before finally setting it to the engine permanently. So let me show you what that entails. So we took the idle air sensor off, and let's take a look at that. So this is what I had on there. Looks terrible, was terrible. Wasn't gonna run it, but I put it in place just so I didn't lose it. I actually have a new body, actually a new idle air. So this is the new unit, and basically, obviously you can tell a huge difference. But one thing I am going to do is change out this motor, because I'm pretty sure the Chinese motor isn't as accurate as the original one. So just a couple Phillips for that. But I actually went to the junkyard and pulled out a good looking one, and this is an original unit. So this should work perfectly. I'm gonna swap that out and bolt the idle air control module on the throttle body permanently. And that will be one less thing to be an issue. So I'll take care of this and be right back. I was going to just pop this in and call it a day, but this is what came out of the new one, and it doesn't seem to adjust or move or anything. And then this moves in and out, pretty much spring loaded. So once it gets a certain voltage, it actually does something. This is probably why when you get these new, they end up not working, because they literally don't do anything. Also, housing difference, the diameter of this hole seems to be bigger than this one, so I'm gonna assume that this will still fit, but just with a little bit more persuasion. This is the one that came off of this one, and the difference I can tell is that this piece here is a different color compared to this one. So it's just very interesting to see the differences, but I think I'll be able to get this to work. So let me install, and we'll be right back. Okay, the idle air motor is on and tight. So it's looking good. Everything else is spare parts. So anyway, I was going to put the bracket on here. Let me hang this back up just for a second. Okay, so I was going to put this bracket on. Goes from here to the intake manifold, but none of that lines up. Of course, the head is taller, so we won't be using that. And I did finish the oil pan bracket. Basically what it is just something to add a little bit more rigidity to the transmission. So that's all painted, ready to go. Also, I have the AC bracket painted and ready to go. So we're going to slide the AC bracket on there and take a look at the turbo and see what type of room we're working with. Okay, so it is on there nice and sturdy, but turbo's pretty close. But I do have a trick up my sleeve that is going to angle this downpipe, because the AC compressor bolts up here. So I need to have this curve a different way. And what I'm gonna do, if you could see here, is I'm gonna have it swirl out this way, come down and under. So I have a little item that I purchased to help facilitate make that happen. But before I even test fit and start working on the downpipe, I need to purchase a AC compressor, bolt it on there, and then see what room I'm working with in this area, and then we can actually start getting that downpipe made. So let me show you what piece I have for this guy, and I'll be right back. So I actually have a muffler pipe donut sort of situation. Basically what I'm gonna do is I'm going to chop this up, and it should give me all of the bends I need to get this under the engine. So yeah, thought this was weird, a little unusual, but should work. Chop this up and get everything I need. Luckily I do have a bandsaw, and I clocked the turbo where the back end is close, just as close as the front end. So it gives me more room in this area. So I'm going to utilize that room, but before I do, I want to make sure that once I bolt in the compressor and everything, I can see how much room I have before I start doing the downpipe. And speaking of the downpipe area, the oil pan. So let me talk to you guys about that. So I was going to use this oil pan and everything, but if you look there, that is the pickup tube smashing onto the bottom of the oil pan. So if you look at the back, looks like a lumpy mess. Plus, I don't want to blow up my engine for obvious reasons. So what I did was I got a new oil pan. So let me show you guys that. Here she is in all of her glory, straight from Mitsubishi. Got the part number there. And this is strictly for the 1.8. Tried to find it elsewhere, no luck. But got a brand new one here. So we'll open this up a little bit later, but only thing I am gonna have to do to it is put the drain line bong right in this area, right right in this area. I might, let me see. I might move it a little bit away from this screw, so it'll be like right here. And then you can thread the line on there and be good to go. But yep, so got a brand new oil pan. We're gonna take the other one and put it away, save it for another day. So we got that, and we have the steel line. It should look something like this when it's done, but we'll definitely see, because remember, the downpipe isn't going down in this area. From here to here is clear space. So I'm gonna have it welded like that. I do have a 90-degree one. I'll probably slide that in here and have it in an angle that it just gravitates from point A straight to point B. So that's another thing I do have to do, but I want to get the compressor in. The compressor is the #1 concern because I definitely am going to be running air conditioning. So got to order that. Haven't done it yet. And then I'm going to get the pan on and all of that goodness. This I'm going to have to weld on. This should be plenty easy. And take it from there. So that is that scenario. Let's move on to the next one. So if we look here on the car, this is where the AC compressor lies. And then you see, with the dipstick out of the way, that usually helps, the bolt that bolts on the mounting bracket. That's how much room we have. So if you look at the lines, one goes up, the one goes down. The one that goes down can be moved closer to the radiator because it is aluminum. That line does bend. So I'm going to do that, and then yeah, we should have plenty of room to get the downpipe up and out of there, especially because that donut is 3 inches. So that's going to be interesting to actually curve that and get it done. But we'll see. We'll definitely knock it out. This is my current dirty engine, which will be coming out real soon. Only thing I will be keeping is the coils. That is about it. And that brings me to the valve cover, which we'll get on that another time because we're not there yet, but we'll get there. And this engine will be out and turbo motor will be in. I'm excited for that. And hopefully the only other thing I will have to rewire is the air temperature sensor. 2 wires, not a big deal. And that should be it, unless I'm doing a boost controller, which I will, and kind of take everything from there. So everything's looking good. Okay, so we have the engine sideways, and we are going to take a look at how the oil pan sits and how we're going to run our return line to that guy. So I have replaced the factory bolts for the transmission brace with stud and bolt setup. Just a little bit of extra strength because, again, we're going for 500 horsepower. So I want to see where the welding's going to begin on the oil pan, and I'll mark it and kind of take it from there. So let's take a peek. Okay, so this is pretty much what she looks like on. All right, and then what would be a perfect place to put the bong would be right in this area. little close to the top. I would like to bring it down, but we're pretty much on a curve. Let me grab it and see what we're dealing with to get a better idea. Alrighty, so we want this guy right here. That's probably too close. Can't go down here. This would be ideal, but we need that screw. Let's see. We could go this area, actually. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do. Okay, perfect. So we got our location. It is right next to the bolt. Let me show you guys with the bolt on. Make sure this is centered. Perfect. So we have room top and bottom, and we will make sure it's not too low in the pan and kind of take it from there, tack this bad boy up, and she should be good to go. So I'm going to clean the paint off in this area and tack weld that in place, and we should be good to go. Once this is done, technically we can put on the oil pan permanently and slide in all of the bolts to complete that. But we'll see if we can get that done probably next episode. And last but not least, our new injectors have come in. These are Fuel Injector Clinics 1000 cc. And you know what we're gonna do. So let's get to it. Okay, so we are connected. Let's turn this bad boy on. We're gonna do a pressure test to make sure they're not leaking. All right. Alrighty, let's up the pressure. Perfect, that's working excellent. We don't have a drip. All right, let's run some cycles. All right, so what we're gonna do is stop that. We're gonna plug in the injectors. Okay, we are ready for action. So let's go to number 2. All right, we're at 40 psi. One of them already look like they're not functioning properly. Alrighty, so stop that, and then what we're gonna do is go to 3. Okay, that looks better. Let's go to 4. Okay, so these 3 are perfect, and it looks like we have one that is kind of lagging behind. But let me see, before we contact the seller, we're gonna run it through some tests. Boom, 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 boom. Let's do a number 6. Okay, so besides this one being a little laggy, which we're going to address with the seller a little later, I like the spray pattern of these. These are more atomization than not. And that is exactly what I was aiming for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run another test. Alrighty. Oh, let's go to this one. Let's try that one. That's excellent. So, through testing, and this is why it's so important to make sure you test these injectors before you put them on your car, it looks like this one's lagging behind. This one is stuck open. These two are running perfect. So, we're back on setting 7, which is just fuel at the rail. And let's see what happens. Full blast. So imagine if you were using this on your car and something like this happened. Within the hour of starting the vehicle, you run into an issue like this. So, gonna contact the seller and get that swapped out, no problem. So, I'm going to have to say that is going to conclude this episode, and we're going to take it from there. And with that being said, we're going to call it an episode. This is definitely one of the reasons why it's good to kind of test your equipment before you use it. But until then, make sure you remember that knowledge is power. Make sure you hit that bell icon, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next episode.